The following is a compLexity production.
1, 2, 3, compLexity!
This is the press conference, streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Oh, you don't be serious, man!
You've got questions, we've got answers. And now, your hosts, compLexity.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the press conference. We're back and we have a lot to talk about.
Heck yeah.
Happy to be joined by these wonderful folks. You may notice that we have a special guest in Suki. And there is a special reason for this because we just announced MSI as in one of our new partners.
Woo!
I should bring in like those, like those fanfare horns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next time, so every time we announce a partner, I just blow the horns.
Or you should have brought the little red gifts.
The little dragon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Could have wore the
Man.
thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Missed opportunity.
I know.
That's all right.
Oh, wow.
Add them in post.
Yeah. Sounds good. Just impose my face with the.
There you go.
That'd be great. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, but really excited about this partnership. Diane, tell us about it.
Yeah, so MSI, we obviously announced them on Monday. They will be our exclusive PC, so desktops, laptops, motherboards, graphics cards, and our monitors as well. So we're really stoked. I mean, they're going to be really arming us with state-of-the-art stuff, not just at the HQ, but for our players and influencers as well. So they're just going to have a blast competing and streaming on these stuff. And I'm personally really excited to be using them at the new HQ. So,
we've been around in the industry forever. MSI has always made great products.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have a few MSI laptops already.
Yeah.
So, match made in heaven, right?
Yeah, I have like a 5-year-old gaming desktop at home, so it's gonna be really interesting. I come home to this really crappy gaming laptop, gaming computer, and then I go to work and work on this crazy just massive.
Got to get you one for home then.
I know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Really exciting.
MSI, if
is
you're
a
listening.
Great company. We're really excited. Obviously, in our business, having top tier computers is a necessity. It's a need, not a want. So we've been working on this for a while now, and congrats to Daniel and Suki and the team for locking it up. We're very excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think that having these in the GSPC, a computer partner is one of the more prominent sponsors in headquarters. So making sure that we're having ways to kind of elevate the rigs in the HQ has been kind of a focal point. So super excited to see those things slot in where they're supposed to be.
And it's also going to be really exciting for our fans because, the open area is going to be set up with all these MSI rigs. So once GSP opens, you definitely want to swing by and just,
Yep, come check the latest and the greatest from MSI for free.
Pretty much. Speaking of the latest and the greatest, Apex Legends.
Woo!
We've been spreading around for a little while, and now we're in it. Beef, this has been your baby for a little bit.
Yeah.
Walk us through this.
Apex, everybody saw 2-3 months ago, it was the hottest game. It blew up. And, immediately we had kind of a task force that were investigating and looking around saying, we want the most competitive team out there. We found some guys that were doing really good in scrims. We have a relationship with Gabe from way back in the day. And we actually were able to assemble this roster. We brought over Reptar from Tempo. So it was exciting. So that is Gabe, it is Reptar, and it is Kyreg. So really excited to be working with these guys. Now we just need to find somewhere for them to compete other than scrims.
Yeah, I think there should be some news coming, and I'm excited to see the Apex scene get rolling here.
Yep, but for now, they're doing scrims, they're streaming a lot. We've seen some kill races and stuff like that. So, yeah, excited to see these guys. They're aim beasts. They have a lot of competitive history together. These guys all played in the H1Z1 Pro League, and then Reptar and Gabe played together in Blackout, where they've won a few of the bigger tournaments in Blackout. So excited to have this trio.
Like you mentioned, though, definitely check them out on their Twitch channels because they stream their scrims. I think that's personally always really interesting. I know that our COD team used to do that too. It's a bit of a shame that these days you can't really stream scrims anymore in high stakes esports titles. But it's really cool to see that. So yeah, definitely check them out on Twitch. Speaking of high stakes, our CS roster has been very active lately again. We were at EPL. Unfortunate that we had to play with a stand-in, but we kind of made it work. Jason,
Visa. I
Visa.
just wanted to say Visa because we have to say it every show. Yeah, we didn't have Rick because his visa's not done. Thanks to Jordan for standing in. We lost 1-2 to Ghost. Took a map off Liquid. We were up 1-0. It's kind of one of those things. Liquid's so good. You're like, we have a stand-in and we're up 1-0 on Liquid. Is this too good to be true? And it turned out to be too good to be true. Where they really just came back and slacked us the second two maps. But we got a win off Lazarus to advance to the next round. Thought the team played pretty well overall, considering we had a stand-in and Sick was still brand new to the roster. Obviously could have been better, but we're hoping to build off this success and see if we can get some wins here in the near future as well.
Yeah, I don't think the second stage has been fully confirmed yet, but I believe it's like somewhere around mid-May, right? So
I don't know if those dates are public, but I'm going to make them public anyway. Yeah, it's like the second week of May.
Sure. Poor Sean, who might have to edit this out.
We'll see.
We have so much going on right now. To be completely honest, I had no idea when it was.
Yeah,
we're juggling like 50 different things in the air, and I didn't know.
Yeah. So that's coming up pretty quick. I know that we had the visa problems with Rick, so we messaged GSL and we're like, hey, could you make us like the later playoff group stage, like 2 weeks later? And they're like, yeah, I mean, if it works out that way, that'd be great. And we're like, okay. And they're like, no, you're in the first group.
Yeah.
We're like, fantastic.
I love ESL, but hey, shout out to ESL for putting both compLexity and Renegades in Group 1, both the teams that had missing players due to visa issues in the last stage. Somebody wasn't thinking over there. It's like, I know they don't want to run their event with missing players due to visa issues, so the logical thing to do would be like, okay, these teams have visa issues. Let's move them later in the stage to minimize the chance that they'll have to use
I'm
subs
sure
again. So,
they have some, like, it was all predetermined which teams go into which group.
yeah,
and all
maybe.
that
I mean, you
stuff,
think a little common sense would come into play, but it is what it is.
Yep. Speaking of, okay, so what did we think about Six's performance? Kind of his first performance for the team on the stage.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
Yeah.
I thought he did great. They haven't played in a lot of entry. I thought he played with confidence. There's obvious times when you could tell the team was new and there was maybe a little miscommunication or unassigned roles, in holding bombs or recoveries. But no, I thought he did well, and I'm pretty excited to see him continue to play with us.
Yeah, he's definitely got that really high quality aim that you kind of look for in that entry fragger.
Really snappy too.
Yeah, exactly. There was a few times where he just like snapped on people, and so that was really impressive.
For sure.
But yeah, I think he's gonna be a good addition.
I agree.
Cool.
Definitely looking forward to more Sick on Cold CS. As you mentioned, we have a lot coming up. Dota, they're about to compete at the Paris Major. They're actually traveling tomorrow, I believe, or like yesterday, depending on when you're watching it.
Correct.
Beef, update on Dota. We've had a roster change.
Yeah, we did. So we played over at ESL 1 Mumbai. And we did okay there, I guess. We ended up going out. We had that initial match against, what was it? TNC. And then we had Navi and the Pango. And I think that Pango one hurt the most. We were really, really close in that one, but ended up going out. And then we announced shortly there following that we had made that change with Def. We've kind of spoken on that. It was, definitely not ideal timing, but the team understood, Death understood, and we had to do what we had to do at that point. So definitely something that was mutual, and both parties agreed that was the best way forward. We've spoken on that pretty ad nauseum. So that's kind of what's going on, but they have had Monkeys Forever in their boot camp for about 8 or 9 days now. I know Soren's been keeping me super up to date on scrims. So a lot of learning. Anytime that you're slotting a new player in, there's a lot of learning to go on. So definitely been kind of an uphill battle there, but learning new styles, trying different things. I know that especially some of our cores have been playing heroes that they wouldn't normally. So that's really interesting. And yeah, we're excited about how this team's going to do at the Paris Major in just a few days.
They've been grinding. I believe you mentioned something along the lines of 40 scrims a week or something?
Yeah, I think it was like 40 scrims in the last 6 days or so.
Yeah, that's definitely
how you do it.
Yeah.
When you're in a boot camp and because they've been practicing against really good talent. because everybody's over there for the Dota Pit Minor. Then you all have all the European teams already. So it's significantly higher quality scrims than they would get in America. It made sense coming from India, going straight to the major. You stop for a boot camp in Europe rather than coming back to America and leaving again 4 days later.
Yeah, I wanted to go over to this, but like I said earlier, we have so many things we're working on right now, and the headquarters is in the very final stages. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. I wanted to go over and support the guys in Paris, but have to be a different event this year.
Same.
There's no way you were going.
I think I've spent
No
at least
way.
I think I've spent at least 4 or 5 hours a day in the HQ for the last week.
Yeah, me going was a maybe. You going was never a consideration. With as
One
many,
day I'll go to another
as many
event.
contractors as we've got.
Since
in.
we've mentioned the HQ, is there anything we can tell our fans in terms of like maybe updates, status right now?
Yeah, I mean we're right there on the edge. We're
on the finish
installing
line.
furniture and getting TVs and things installed. So we're really excited. We're right there on the edge of being able to share a lot more with people. So stay tuned in the near future.
Yeah, I think that we've definitely been making a ton of progress. So I think we're going to be showing maybe a little bit of some stuff later this week, and then you'll start to get a real good peek, I believe, next week.
Yep.
Excited. I think everybody at the office
stoked.
is super excited. Like,
It's
you can just
funny,
feel it
like,
in the air too.
You can really feel it in the air. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time, but it's also fun for me to sit back and watch all the buzz around the office. I feel like I'm dad on Christmas morning when all the kids are running around. Then I saw this, and then they were doing this. It's just kind of like.
Weird.
Then I got that, Dad, and then Santa brought this, and it's just like Andrew's
much.
around.
Yeah,
then they got this
basically.
thing
Pretty
set
much.
up, and this backup power supply this, and networking that, and I'm just sitting back, man. It's like having a whole office full of kids that are just giddy on their birthday or Christmas morning or something.
Then you have the opposite side when we come back with the bad news about, hey, this got messed up somehow, and this
is wrong. This is missing.
3 weeks late,
Like,
and
how are we going to do this? Yeah. It's been quite an experience for all of us that have been deeply involved with the construction and the design and the build out. I would like to say it's all been enjoyable, but that would be lying. I emailed one of the guys here at the Cowboys facility a couple days ago, and I just said, if I never build another piece of construction like this till the day I die, it will be too soon. This particular guy wrote me back. He's like, welcome to my life, because he handles a lot of their construction stuff around the
Jeez.
country. But
it's gonna be
been
exciting.
something.
I'm so excited.
Excited for it to be done.
Hopefully next week we can talk about it even more and more happy news too.
yeah.
Anyway, Rocket League. Unfortunately, not that happy news. They started out great, but
Looks
unfortunately, the last weekend was just rough.
Yeah, I think that kind of going into last Friday, playing Veloce, we knew that Veloce was pretty strong, and so that happened. We ended up losing to them, and again, it was like so many posts hitting the woodwork in the crossbar, so many that were so close, high number of shots, but low shot percentage on target. It was the same story against ARG, and with the losses to Veloce and ARG, our future in RLRS being able to qualify into RLCS promotions is now a little bit out of our hands. I think that if we win out, there's a strong likelihood we could still make it, but we might also need a little bit of help from teams like ARG. So it's going to be difficult going forward, and the guys carried that over into the DreamHack qualifiers this weekend. They ended up eliminating former world champions Dignitas in the lower bracket. So, taking down one of the top teams in RLCS, but Dignitas has been on a little bit of a slump as well. They are actually in relegation territory in RLCS right now. Talk about a fall from grace. And then our team, unfortunately, weren't able to move forward from there. I think we got eliminated right after taking out Dignitas. So, yeah, definitely unfortunate. And I think that this team understands that being an RLCS team and having support from a Tier 1 organization like us, they needed to be on that promotion level tier. They needed to be getting back into RLCS. That's the expectation. So they're going to be kind of fighting for their lives on that promotion and knowing how important that is to us as well.
Yeah, and I feel like we have a curse hanging over our heads anytime there's a Dallas event. Like, we're all here in Dallas, dying to drive down the road and like cheer for our teams. Counter-Strike didn't make DreamHack Dallas. Rocket League didn't make DreamHack Dallas. It's like, guys, it's in our backyard.
Yeah.
You need to qualify for this one. Like, you can't qualify for everything all the time. That's just the nature of competition. But to have our teams failing to qualify for this event is incredibly frustrating right now. Not going to lie.
The good news for us is that it's an open event, so we can pay for them to fly out and play in the opens, but there's always the risk associated with, being at an open event. You're starting further down in the bracket. You got to qualify to even make it into the pools, that kind of stuff.
Much more exhausting schedule as well.
Absolutely, especially traveling from Europe to come over here and play. But the good news is that there's a Madden event at DreamHack Dallas.
And
speaking of Madden,
this is skipping a couple of topics. So speaking of Madden, we have the current MaddenBowl 19 champion, Drini.
Champions.
I really should have brought that horn.
Yeah.
Had a lot to celebrate today.
Oh.
yeah.
What an incredible run. What an incredible run.
Yeah, I mean,
We are a football organization.
there's always that unspoken level of kind of pressure when you're partnered with an organization like the Cowboys when you're playing Madden NFL football, and we try not to translate that over to Drini. He's gone through a lot since being with us. He was in Jacksonville when that terrible shooting occurred, and very involved in that. And, so he's overcome a lot of adversity most people will never have to deal with, God willing, right? To really bounce back. And he's had a couple events where he felt he underperformed, and I think he was putting a lot of pressure on himself. But when it came to the big boy, the MaddenBowl, he pulled it out. Not only did he pull it out, he pulled it out representing the Dallas Cowboys. And not only was he representing the Dallas Cowboys, it was an absolute ass stomping at 41-0. So there was no drama, which is the way I like it personally. Like, I know the fans like drama. I prefer 41-0 on our end. Than,
He had like 5
last
picks.
second. Yeah, it was something. Were you watching that, Sook?
No, I didn't get to.
You didn't get to watch it.
No.
It was pretty crazy. So shout out to Drini. We got.
I was
we
reading all the
champion.
messages on the office chat.
we
though.
had probably
Blowing
20
up my
people.
phone.
Yeah, you were at Overwatch,
Yeah, I
right?
was,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, we had probably 20 people in Slack and in WhatsApp just cheering every time you'd get a pick and run it back, and just, oh my God, it was freaking out. So that was really fun.
Yeah,
I think
congrats
that was
to him.
so making it back to back. He made it to the final of the previous event, ended up losing, ended up beating that guy to get to the finals of this event, and then just steamrolled through. So the world champion, the MaddenBowl champion,
Looking good.
he's got the belt, second belt
That's
now.
it.
He's
That's
moving
it.
into the contention for the greatest of all time debate in Madden.
Yeah.
Give it another year. I think that he will be firmly.
I want to see if we can order like a replica
Yeah,
of
that would be
that
dope.
belt for the HQ, because I would never take a kid's
No, of course
belt.
not.
Like we get the trophies if a team wins an event or whatever. But when it's like a one-on-one belt,
It's
like
an individual. You get
we gotta
that
get
trophy.
we gotta get one of those made.
So
hit up Ed
I've
Chan.
already reached out.
There you go.
So-
That'd be cool.
Let's go.
Since we're already talking about Madden and EA Sports tournaments, FIFA. I said it. I feel like more so than a football team, we're an EA Sports
We're
team.
at EA
Yeah,
Sports
it's been
team.
recently here.
But yeah, FIFA happened. The E-Champions League in
Yeah.
Manchester, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Jackson, what a game also.
Yeah.
He was down 4-1. Beef, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not secretive about my love for Madden soccer. I mean,
Addiction.
FIFA soccer, and yeah, it was really something special watching Jackson. Like I said, he was down 4-1, ended up bringing it back to 5-5, I believe, and ended up sending it to pens. And it was pretty nutty penalty shootout. We were losing our minds, and of course, this was just a couple of hours. I want to say
Before Madden.
started, and Drini went on to win. So we
What a
were
day.
losing our minds. So Jackson ends up qualifying to the top 8. He had already gotten a ticket to the Champions League finals to watch the Champions League match by winning an event earlier in the season. But now he has a ticket to actually go there, a hotel, because he's going to play the E-Champions League finals at the event the day before. So the top 8, probably the second most prestigious event of the year, following the E-World Cup Grand Finals, which he's also already qualified to at this point. So, I mean, Jackson's having a hell of a season.
Yep.
he just to quickly add from his perspective, he did join our Discord, and he's like, "Yo, guys, this was the most intense game of my life. Being down 1-4 and having to crawl back there,
that was crazy.
Climb his back way up. That was insane. So,
Absolutely crazy.
huge props to him.
Speaking of which, if you are not on our Discord, make sure to go check it out. Our players do sometimes hang out there. We're hanging out there. We love cheering on matches with you. That's discord.gg/compLexity.
For sure. Definitely join us there. We still have 2 games to cover. Clash Royale. We just, or rather Supercell just announced the Season 2 of CRL.
Yep.
And we're part of it. Woo!
We're very excited to be back in the game.
Ready to go. Been working on this since last fall, so I'm glad the league is all up and announced and ready to kick off here soon.
We have another player that is in Frisco practicing with our team right now that we will have to announce here in the near-term future.
Yep.
A press conference exclusive.
A press conference exclusive announcement.
Announcement.
It's very esports.
And the last topic on the docket, unfortunately not as much of a fun one, but Hearthstone, the World Championship did take place. Tyler, after a incredible season, really, he went in as one of the point leaders, right?
Yeah, he was looking pretty solid in terms of the World Cup, but unfortunately, Hearthstone's one of those games where you can get just a bad beat, and went in. Somebody had 2 people in his group, I believe, had teched against the decks he was bringing. Just bad luck. Started at a pretty severe disadvantage. Had some really bad draws. They had amazing draws. So ended up going out in his groups, but still an incredible season for Tyler. One of the premier players from the Asia Pacific region. And one of the coolest things for me was that we were able to help kind of commemorate his father throughout that process. Tyler's father passed away a few months back, and being at this event, it was kind of the suggestion of Tyler's family as well as Soren that they make this commemorative patch that he wore on his jersey at the event. So I think that was something special, something that the commentary team and the other players highlighted, but it was really awesome being able to commemorate his family during an event like that, something that his father was so proud that he was going to qualify for.
Once again, huge shout out to Tyler. He's been grinding all year, and I mean, knowing him, he's just going to be right back on top next season. So, yeah. That brings us to our Q&A section of the press conference. As always, be sure to hit us up on Twitter, on Discord, wherever. Really, just drop us a question with the hashtag ColdPC, and you might be featured in this section. First up, Mandeep from a Discord. This is a pretty interesting one because usually people ask us about how to get in as a player, but he's asking, how would you go around looking, for a coach analyst job? How would you get yourself out there?
A lot of times we get asked these questions, I always come back to the same thing, and that's really networking. This is assuming you're already qualified to be an analyst or coach, which really requires an extremely high level of knowledge, unless you want to really start with more amateur teams and kind of, learn your way up. I'm assuming he's speaking at the kind of the professional level. After that, it's networking. You got to go out and get involved at the events. You need to know people. People can't hire you if they don't kind of know of you and your expertise and your experience. Sending cold emails or things like most of the pro teams are so busy on a day-by-day basis. That's really not the way to go about it. Perfect your trade, get really good at what you're doing, understand the game in a very deep analytical way, and then network. It's the best advice I could do off the top of my head.
I feel like that advice goes for any,
Just about.
excuse me,
Yeah.
any sort of job at esports. Networking it's all about who you know.
Absolutely.
That's a big part of it. The other thing I would say is provide an example of what it is that you do. If you're a coach, go back through and find something, that you would coach a player and demonstrate. Give me a 2-minute video. How would you coach this to ensure a better quality of success? If you're an analyst, show me a scouting report. Show me
really
data analysis of something. You're like, this is what I would provide to you. Don't just say, hey, I'm a really good coach. Hey, I'm really good with analytics. Mm-hmm. Show me an example.
Especially
catch my attention.
As an analyst, if a big part of your job will be preparing scouting reports and following trends of a team's opponents, that's something you could just give them for free for a while. Hey, first 3 games, I'm going to send you deep analytical breakdowns of your opponent's trends. And, if you do that for enough teams, somebody might be like, wow, this stuff's really good. Let's hire this guy type of thing. Obviously, you don't want to keep doing that because you get taken advantage of. But if you're going to put out that work, we have a young fan who's always messaging me on Facebook. He wants to get into the marketing side of esports, and he's always sending me these demo decks and demo social media posts and like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and like, here's another marketing idea for your company or whatever. And, we don't really have any openings right now, but I'm constantly commenting like, this guy's going to go far. Like, he's really out there hustling.
Persistent.
He's persistent. He's coming up with some really interesting concepts, and I hope he's doing it with other organizations too. So that sort of thing, I think, go a long way.
Yeah, we have a guy named Anton that's been hitting me up for almost 4 years about a CSGO coaching position, and I'll always reply to him and be like, "Hey, dude, like not something we're looking for right now." But it's good to see every time he sends me his resume what he was doing previously. He was working with this team in Europe, and he was working with this team and this team. He's building up his resume, and he's always looking to coach something like compLexity, but he's out there. He's persistent. Like I said, probably 15 emails in the last 4 years, letting us know, hey, still around if you're interested. So that's part of it too.
Hopefully this answered Mandeep's question. I certainly think it did. He did have a couple more, though. One of which is, what will be done to people that spoil endgame of the cool offices? Suki, what would you do if somebody had spoiled you before you went into to that movie?
I would ban them from moving into the GSPC.
I think that's fair.
Wow.
I think that would be fair.
Suki's not messing around.
Indefinitely.
So I'd like to create some kind of a robot that detects spoils and shoots people with water bottles. I think Andrew would have fun with that.
So he did refer to Endgame. I think this applies to anything really, like
Anything.
Game of Thrones. If he had Game of Thrones to anybody.
Well, and I was talking about this because I haven't seen Endgame yet. And Zach saw it in like a media screening before anybody else could see it. And he's like, you have until Tuesday. Tuesday I'm talking about it. I can't not talk about it at work. Tuesday I'm talking about it. I'm like, Zach, I can't be expected to see the movie within like 3 days, dude. Like, I have too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm spoiling. 3 days. I'm like, oh, no, you get like 2 years of not seeing it.
I mean, for Game of Thrones, I feel like the spoiling timeline is a little shorter, but
You get like 12 hours.
yeah. But like Endgame,
Yeah.
In-game, you have to go to a theater.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly.
His other question is, for fitness, are all players on an individual custom tailored schedules? Is there team design ones, or is it just standard schedule? Is there any schedule at all? That's the thing.
So right now, we actually don't enforce fitness.
Not mandatory.
We're moving into the GSPC, which
Yeah.
is right next to our gym really soon here. So that's something that we're currently evaluating. Previously, when we had James as our performance coach, he did create custom tailored different performance things for our players. So that included physical workouts. It's something that when players come to us as well, if they say, hey, I would like to get a custom workout, we work with them to help out on that. But it's not actually enforced organization-wide at this point. I would say about 60% of our players are attending the gym 3 or more days a week.
Yeah, sounds about right. And they pretty much just organize it themselves too.
Yep. They like to go in groups.
Dr. Walda asks, one of our fan leads, GameStop did an awesome tips and tricks video with Hogman. What other teams can we expect to see in that GameStop series in the future? So basically, what other clinics are there?
So we have Madden coming up with Drini, which should come out here in the summer.
And the MaddenBowl champion
For
himself.
that.
Those are going to be valuable.
I mean, who to get better tips from than the MaddenBowl
I
champion,
know.
right?
That's it.
Another question is, has there been any talk between teams and the CSGO devs about more involved cosmetic items in game? Has that ever been? Has there ever been any talks with that?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
I think that it's safe to say that organizations would love more cosmetic items in their game featuring Team IP. It's not always that easy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there any chance that those throwback jerseys will be available for sale at some point? Jordan did sport his one at the EPL.
Never say never.
Yeah. To be clear, those ones were supposed to be used at the major. They got stuck in customs. So what are you going to do? But Jordan wore his at that event, so that was exciting.
that was cool.
That was cool.
That's cute.
It was really cool. Phoenix Sniper on Discord asks, any more info? Well, we kind of talked about it, but any infos, news, plans, GSPC, anything else you guys want to tease?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a bit here.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a whole lot coming. One thing I'll just let viewers of this show know, we are producing a bunch of content around it.
Yeah.
We're producing content showing the thought that went into it, the different aspects of it. So there'll be a deep content series that's coming. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So
Suki just filmed something for it right before now.
I really
Suki.
did.
Yep.
Yeah.
here we go.
I'm excited about it, man. I'm about to go over there for the 4th time today after the show. I'm not even joking.
At this point, he's already
gonna
kind
see
of.
him
He's
coming
just
in,
living
it's like,
there
dude.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jason this morning
Let's get
was
a
like,
sleeping bag.
He was like, "Why isn't Kyle at the office?" He went over to the HQ and he's like, "Oh, here's Kyle." Yep, and a hard hat.
There he is.
Just bring a sleeping bag and a tent.
That's what I said.
Yeah. At this point.
Oxy asks, is there any news on, the Apex tournament, or rather, when will they be playing? Do we have any? You kind of alluded to it.
Yeah,
But
it's not really up to us. I
Yeah.
think whenever there's any major tournament, they'll be in it. There's kind of the Code Red kill challenges that come up every here and there, and they've been playing a few of those. But yeah, it's going to be kind of up to EA whenever they roll out larger scale tournaments.
he also asked, I'm pretty sure there's not much we can talk about that either, but any news on the new merch that's coming?
Gonna be some cool merch in the near future. That's
Soon
gonna be announced.
TM.
Soon TM.
Soon
I think that's very
TM.
appropriate.
We've got, obviously, if you're checking our social media this week, we've got some cool news coming, and a leak here that it's going to also involve merch. So by the time this runs on Thursday, we'll see where we're at on that announcement, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
What a tease.
I know.
What a tease.
So good at it.
Unlicensed asks, do you make your players go through first aid training? It's a really interesting question.
That's a good question.
First aid training.
That is a really good question. I've actually done first aid training with a couple of players way back when, but in recent years we have not, because we have managers, and our managers are generally, they at least do an online course in crisis management, that kind of stuff. So, but we honestly, as we kind of move into the HQ and we have the public area and stuff, it is certain things that we are taking a little bit more seriously. So yeah, I think first aid training, as well as things like CPR and defibrillator training, that kind of stuff, will probably go in at some point here in the future.
And then the last one for today from N07 or Benjamin. Is there going to be any more sponsorships coming in the near future for compLexity?
Yes.
Yes.
Always.
All the time. Yeah, we have quite a few coming down the pipeline for the next few months. Obviously, I can't, tell you guys what it is, but
Would you say they're cool?
they're awesome.
Very cool.
I'm so stoked. You don't even know. But
Yes.
yeah, keep an eye out for all of those announcements coming. I mean, you guys will be happy. We're super happy to have them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to take just 1 second to talk about the pipeline, because people always talk about the pipeline, and people always say I always see it in Call of Duty subreddit when they're talking about, pick up a team, then you just get sponsors and sponsors will pay for everything. It's not a simple process. The average sponsorship takes 9 months to actually go from conceptualization to networking to initial proposals to refinement to term sheet to contracting to activation. So when we talk about the pipeline, there's a lot of stuff that Suki and Daniel and the team are working on. So there's always things that are kind of coming up. You might be 3 months into a partnership and you're already talking about, renegotiation at the
Yep.
12-month or re-upping, all these different things. So it's exciting. There's a ton of work that goes into these sponsorships and the various activations in them. But we're really, really lucky to have such a good sponsorship team that are working on some
100%.
great sponsors.
2019 has already been and will continue to be a giant year for compLexity. Straight up. This is a huge year for us, and we appreciate all the fans, especially fans that are hardcore enough to be still listening or watching. Make sure you leave a comment on YouTube. We greatly appreciate your support. We got a lot of really cool shit coming in the very near future.
Yeah.
Peace.